YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage with just kind of a quick tip, I guess, with a cool combination that I found with the Empire. I'm sure I'm not the first one who's used this, obviously, but a Witch Hunter with Accusation now takes away melee defense, armor, and missile resistance. That's pretty interesting. To lose 30 armor is a pretty big deal, but we can make this even more interesting still. Alright, I do have one unit of Knights with Lances over here, and you'll be like, yeah, that's not fair. You got a Lord, a Witch Hunter, 2 Hunters. Yeah, I know. I just want to kind of show you what can happen. Hunters are anti-large, though they don't have armor piercing damage. In fact, if we take a look, very little of their damage is armor piercing, so it's one of their downsides. Well, what happens, though, when you synergize that a bit with someone like Balthasar, who's very good at removing the armor off of another unit? Now, this is certainly a bit of an idealized scenario, but I'm just using it to demonstrate that if you're going into a battle where you think there's going to be significant value against a large armored target, this could be an interesting combination for you. Watch what happens. I'm going to strip off 60 armor with Balthasar, open fire with my Hunters, and then as the Knights become close enough, we'll take off another 30 armor, and what is normally a not very armor-piercing unit essentially becomes one for enough time to be incredibly deadly to a very valuable enemy unit. So you can see the number of Knights that are already dead is relatively significant. I'm going to let them charge me here, but just kind of to prove the point and watch how much damage can be done. Their armor is just so significantly debuffed that the Chaos Knights are absolutely getting tanked. So you can see they're not even able to defeat a single Huntsman unit because of how badly the armor was tanked. Now, obviously, if you do this to another player, you would need to be smart about it. Doing against the AI, probably relatively easy. But again, another player, you would have to know how to use this and when. If they see you do that too early, they may simply back up and not keep their unit in a line of fire. So that may be one of those things that you try to spring at an opportune moment. So maybe they have a very heavily armored, Dragon Ogre Shaggoth or something like that. It gets engaged, gets in close, or chases your Lord. You strip all its armor off, you've got these Huntsmen waiting in the right spot, and boom, drop it. Or in this case, the same thing with the Cavalry. And it doesn't have to be just with Huntsmen. There's obviously a lot of scenarios in which the huge armor debuff, and on top of it, with the Witch Hunter, they also get less missile, like it takes away 22% missile resistance. So it makes them even more vulnerable to missile fire. That same thing you just saw me use there could be taken advantage of with something like Free Company Militia, though their range is considerably more limited. Something like Pistoliers could take advantage of that. You could use it in certain infantry fights even to pretty good effect. Do know, though, that it has to be focused all on one unit, so typically it's going to be best if you use that against a very expensive unit or a very critical unit for your enemy. So, I don't know, again, just a quick video. This is not an all-encompassing video. You all tell me if you've used anything like this out in multiplayer battles or in campaign, but something that I thought was an interesting synergy that you could take advantage of. Huntsmen in and of themselves, actually quite dangerous versus certain targets. Those heavily armored ones, though, tend to resist them a lot more, but not when they have the right support. So, something to keep an interesting eye on. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out for now. Hope you all learned something here, and I'll try and find you some more tips and tricks in Warhammer 2.